My name is Dov Ben-Yaakov Kurtzman. Just to give you a small, short background of who I am so that you can understand who's talking to you tonight. My training as a clinical social worker is in Israel. I trained 3 years in a psychiatric hospital in a closed ward of severe mental illness, such as schizophrenia, bipolar, acute psychosis, and severe substance abuse. Also trained at a specialist therapeutic residential community called Returno, if anyone's heard of it. And there I worked with both adults and adolescents. So the biggest protective factor with regards to us in this room are us, as Rabbi Woman said, the parents and the family. This is the biggest protective factor. And it's very important that we understand this. We have an absolute, intricate and active part to play in our children, youth, and eventually them coming into adults. That alcohol is very much a part of our way of life. We have to remember this. So it's not the substance itself, it's how it's used. Okay, so first one, don't panic, right? You might actually find out when you have the conversation that your child is actually taking substances or abusing alcohol. If that is the case, and you are told, you've hit bingo. I mean, you have now the golden opportunity. You can ruin the child, or you can put them on the way of recovery. So how that first conversation starts, be prepared that you might just get your child telling you the truth. Okay, make sure you know enough about the drugs that you're going to talk about. Now, you're going to get a share after mine about all this kind of stuff. So you're going to get in this tonight a package of having at least some sort of information regarding drugs if you don't know already. But it's important to have some sort of idea of what you're talking about when you're going to have that conversation. Okay, know exactly how you, what your values are about drugs and alcohol. Every family is different. I can't say that, I can't judge, I can't say this is good and bad. You have to decide for your family what your values are. But what I want you to do is, once you know your values, be clear and set clear boundaries. Adolescents need clear boundaries. They need to know where the red line is. They might go over it, but they need to know where it is. And your personal example of that is extremely important. So, you know, if you know, on a Shabbos, Friday night, whatever, and you're, you know, lying on the ground with a bottle of vodka, you've got to understand that that is what you're teaching your kids, right? You can't go out, okay, now you're going out for, you know, out for a Purim party and you're not allowed to drink. And, you know, you've got to be reasonable. Avoid scare tactics. Don't start threatening your kids. You know, you're going to take, going to smoke a joint and you're going to die, because that most likely won't happen, and if it doesn't happen, then they're never going to listen to you again. Okay, so have some sort of reasonability about how you're having this conversation with your child. If you frame it again in the health issue, then you can say that it is a fact, it is known, it has been proven that teenagers, 15 to 25, adolescents, using marijuana and marijuana-based products are very prone to triggering schizophrenia and psychosis. Know who your child's hanging out with. Get to know them. Understand who they are. the likeliness of them using it rises greatly if they're hanging out with people who use drugs. You've got to understand that. So you might have to reconsider with your children changing that route if you find that is the case. Let them know you're always there for them. This is actually, if I was only going to show you one tip, this would be it. Okay? They need to know that you are there as your parent. You are their safety net, no matter what happens. We must understand this in all areas of life, but especially when it comes to this. They are going to try things. Adolescents do this. But they need to know that they have somebody there that's going to save them. Now, you might not be able to save them, but they need to know that they can come and try. And the only way they can do that is they know that you're there for them no matter what. Now, it doesn't mean no matter what you have to agree with everything they're doing. It doesn't mean no matter what you don't need to get angry with them because they've done something stupid. It doesn't mean no matter what means they can do anything they want and there's no boundaries. No. There are boundaries. You can get upset that they've done something wrong, and you can tell them that, and you can, but you still have to be there for them. Listen as well as talk. It's not all about your speeches. It's about what they're going to say. And they might actually talk to you. Okay? It's a low chance, but they might actually do it if you set it up correctly. And if they do talk to you, now you've got the what do you call it, the boiling iron that you can actually shape. So be very, very careful. And do not judge. Listen. No matter what happens, don't give up, because this conversation is ongoing, like I said. It might work the first time, it might not work again, it might not work again, but eventually it will sink in, and they will carry that with them. We cannot protect our children from everything. In fact, very little. Okay? When they're in our care, when they're young, maybe much more. But when they get to adolescent stage, we can't keep them locked up. We can only help them navigate the dangers as soon as they walk out the door. And that's by empowering them, that's by educating them, and giving them that feeling that they are in control of their own actions and their own consequences. And that message you can get across to them. But if they feel that they're not responsible and they're only doing something because you did it, they'll be like that 2-year-old that says, I don't want to put my coat on just because you told me to.
If you're there for them the whole time, then they won't feel that not responsible.
No, you're not walking with them holding the hand. They just know that you're there if they need you. And that's you know, they might go out. If they go out and try something stupid, and they can't come back and say, look, I've done something stupid, they've got no one else to turn to. And the only person they'll turn to is somebody like themselves, because they all listen to themselves. All peers listen to their own peer group. And if that peer group says, you know what, come, I'll comfort you, have another pill. Okay, be realistic. Understand that not all kids that deal with drugs and alcohol are going to end up either with schizophrenia, or they're going to be drug addicts, or they're going to be dealers, or anything like that. There's a very small percentage of them will, but it's a small proportion, and that we have to understand. Be involved with your children's life is very important, because a lot of the time, the first time they experience the drugs and the alcohol, they can realize, wow, it has a medicinal effect. And this is the most dangerous part. If your kids are having a very painful life, for whatever reason, they're not getting on well with their parents, they're not getting on well at home, they're not getting on well at school, they're having a bad time, they've been abused, don't know what, and they taste alcohol or try drugs for the first time, boom, it disappears. That's the most amazing feeling in the world. They've just learned how to self-medicate. And that self-medication is what will take them down that road of reuse. So it's very important that you're involved in your child's life as much as possible to prevent that situation happening.